Today we are going to start with the topic, the slope formula. This is on the page 254. I know that maybe you already know how to use this, but this is a little review. You saw this topic, you studied this topic in 8th grade. Okay. In a previous lesson, a slope was described as the constant rate of change of a line. You saw how to find the slope of a line by using its graph. There is also a formula you can use to find the slope of a line, which is usually represented by the letter m. To use this formula, you need the coordinates of two different points on the line. Okay, you already know how to obtain the slope, but we are going to practice a little more about this. And for example, the example 1. Okay, but before we go to example 1, I'm going to read the theory with you again. The slope formula you have in red, you have one part that says words, formula, and example. I read this with you and later we go to the example 1. The slope of a line is the ratio of the difference in y values to the difference in x values between any two different points on the line. Now, formula. If you have one point, the point have two coordinates, x1 and y1. And you have the other point, x2 and y2. They are two different points on a line, any different points. So the slope of this line is going to be m equal, and you subtract the values for y, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is for to obtain the slope, okay? This is the equation. Now you have the example. If the first point, for example, is 2, minus 3, and the other one is 1, 4. Here you have 2 points. They are 2 points of a line. The slope of the line is going to be to subtract the greater value minus the least one, okay? The point number 2 minus the point number 1. So 4 minus negative 3. I'm going to do this. I'm going to write with you. M is equal y. You have the values of y over x, right? This is what you have in here to find the slope. But what do you need in here? For example, the first point you have, the points you are going to use, they are 2, negative 3. This is the first point. And the other point you have is 1, 4. Okay, they are both positive. So using this, I'm going to find the slope. How I'm going to find the slope? I'm going to subtract the values for y and the values for x. Remember, this is for y and this is for x. So m equal 4 minus negative 3. Negative 3. This is for y. And what happened with x? I have 1 minus 2. 1 minus 2. What is the value I'm going to find for this slope in this case? Look that in here I have two negative numbers, negative multiplied by negative, so my number in this case is going to be positive, positive 7. But in here you are subtracting one number that is less than this one. So this is going to be negative. What I have in here is this, that m is going to be 7 over negative 1. I have negative in here. So what is going to be my slope? My slope is going to be -7, right? Because I have positive in here and the denominator is negative. So the slope of this is going to be -7. This is for the example we have for the slope formula. Now you can go to the example 1. In the example 1, we need to do something similar to find the slope using the slope formula. This is the slope formula. I'm going to write it in here so you have more space to see it better. M equal y2 minus y1. Remember, I subtract the coordinates for y. This is over x2 minus x1. These are the coordinates for y. I'm subtracting the coordinates for y, and I'm subtracting the coordinates for x. So I replace the values we have in here. What are the points we have? I have 4, -2. And the other point I have is -1, 2. I'm going to give you more space in here. These are the points I'm going to use to find the slope. This is the point number 1, and this is the number 2. So I'm going to continue with this. M is equal. What is the value for y2? This is the point number 2, right? So y is 2. And minus, what is y1? This is the point number 1. So y is going to be -2. Now I divide by the values of x. x2 is -1. Minus, the minus is from the formula, guys. The minus is always in here because it's for the formula. y1 is going to be 4. So what value are we going to obtain in here? We are going to obtain a -5. M, I'm going to show you this. M is going to be, you have negative multiplied by negative, so you obtain positive. 2 plus 2 is going to be 4, right? And in the other one, for example, -1 minus 4, this is an addition of 2 negative numbers. So this is going to be -5. Okay. I'm going to write in here so you can see the fraction. This is -4/5. And for this one, I have the same in here. Okay. What is the final value I have for m? M is -4/5. M is equal -4/5. This is the value for the slope using the formula, okay? But we are going to do the same using the graph we have on the other examples, for example, the number 2 or 3. So in this case, I have this one, okay? This is the value for the slope. The slope of the line contains the points 4, -2, and the point -1, 2. And the slope is this one. The slope is -4/5. I want to show you in here. Maybe I can do it. This is the answer we have for this slope, and this is the answer I'm going to have for this other one. This is the first example, okay? No, this is the first example. This was about the theory, okay? But it counts like an example because we are going to find the same. We are going to find the slope. So Okay, I'm going to make a pause in here and I'm going to ask if you have any question. Now, if you go to the example 2, the part B, you have the table. I'm going to erase this to show you the values you are going to have. For the text, for example, I have the values of X. You have 2, 2, 2, and 2. And the values for Y, they are going to be different. You have 0, you have 1, 3, and 5. So I'm going to divide this so I can show you only how to obtain this slope. For obtaining to obtain this slope, you only need 2 points. Remember, it's the same like we were working in the first example, only that they give you the points. In this case, you need to choose it. Okay, you need to choose. I have in here like this. Okay, this is not a perfect table because I don't know. I don't have a grid. But imagine that this is the table that contains the value for X and Y. And I'm going to need only 2 values for X and 2 values for Y to obtain the slope of this. So the step 1 is to choose any points from the table. I can choose, for example, the first one, 2 for X and 0 for Y. And the other one is going to be 2 for X and 3 for Y. So the points I'm going to use, I'm going to write it. I'm going to use the points 2 for X and 0 for Y. And the other point I'm going to use is 2 for X and 3 for Y. So using these points, I'm going to obtain the value of the slope. I can choose any point I want, only that I need 2, but I'm free to choose the point I want, okay? You can choose this one, 2, 0. You can choose this one, 2, 1. You can choose this one, 2, 5. The important part is that you are going to subtract the coordinates of Y and subtract the coordinates of X. So what is the value for the slope? The slope M is equal Y2 minus Y1 divided by X2 minus X1. This is the formula, right? This is the formula you have for the slope.
That's a question.
Tell me.
Why we have this formula and on graphic is like a normal graphic?
Is because, okay, in the graph you can take 2 points and you use this. We don't have the graph, we only have the table for this one, but if you want to graph, you can do it. Remember the way we graph using a table like this one, okay? So what this represents is that if you, even if you don't have the graph, but you have the points, you have the table with the points, you can obtain the slope using the same formula, okay? Because from this table, you can take some points. You only need 2 points and you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So you only take 2 points and you can obtain the slope using the same formula. For example, in this case, I chose this one, 2, 0, 2 for X and 0 for Y. And the other one is 2 for X and 3 for Y. So I can use this formula to obtain the values because I have 2 different values for Y and I have 2 different values for X. This is what I need to obtain the value for the slope M. Now I'm going to replace the values. For example, for Y, the first value for Y, what is? 3, right? And the second value is going to be the first value in here, Y1, because I subtract the greater minus the least one in here. The second point minus the first one. So in this case, I have the values for y, 3 minus 0, right? 3 minus 0. I'm going to add the text in here. 3 minus 0. Okay, and for the other one, I need to subtract the values of x. And what are the values of x? They are going to be the same. 2 minus 2. In all the points of this table, you can see that you have the same value for x. If you have the same value for x, it doesn't matter the point you take. When you subtract, you are going to obtain 0. So what you are going to have is 3 over 0. What happens when I have something divided by 0? It's undefined, right? I don't have the value for the slope because it's not defined, okay? So m is equal 3 over 0. In other courses of you take, you are going to see that this is infinite, okay? When you divide one number by 0, this is going to be infinite. But in this algebra 1, we are going only to say that when we simplify this and we divide by 0, this is undefined. So the slope, I'm going to write, the slope is undefined. Because the 0, right? Because I'm dividing by 0 and I cannot divide by 0. So I'm going to start sharing the screen, guys, because we already finished in here. So, and I'm going to give you 1 minute to ask one question if you want to ask something. If not, we can finish in here.